the hard task of going after those two really good gentlemen over here. So I just wanted to, I think, change the conversation slightly. So I think there we go. So we think of data as media, as campaigns, as overall performance. And although that's the end goal, I sort of want to switch the conversation to actually data being people and how we use and activate on data to motivate people in that. So if we think about data as a fingerprints of individuals, of people, what does that actually tell you? So a lot of the presentations we saw yesterday around attribution programmatic was how we can use data to understand who the most valuable people are and who are the ones that are more likely and have the highest propensity to buy your brands. It's knowing when people are most receptive to media and in what channels they're going to give that permission to be advertised in, and also what's relevant to people. So, Jason spoke about how we can use data activation to actually give relevancy and personalization. So how do we understand those signals to do that? And picking up on Paul, it's, there's a lot out there. So data is a massive vanity project for all of us, otherwise we wouldn't be here at ICOM, but how do we become more purposeful with the data that we go after and make it very, very easy? So starting out with transactional data to ensure that we're relevant with our consumers and our customers, and using signals that the consumers are giving off, whether they're social, whether they're search, location-based, to give and enhance that experience that you're having. So just starting on those two fundamental principles can actually jumpstart any marketing campaign from that perspective. So, when we think about data and everything that's out there, there's a lot of disconnected data in there. Paul's kind of, touched on that. And you've got different granularities, different systems, different taxonomies, frequency of data. So how do we start with few data sources and really truly connect them in an end-to-end way? So understand data to understand how we can drive business growth, gain insights from those consumers and performance, to activate on it and really measure that in an end-to-end way to actually learn and make that living and breathing. So rather than data being death and reporting where you lose data, how do we continually learn from the underlying infrastructures that we can build in that? So when we actually look at this sort of picture, so every time this transaction happens in the marketplace, two things are actually generated. One is a monetary value that the brand marketers get from that sale, but the most important part is the data that's generated from that transaction. And as brands and marketers, that's the most valuable asset that companies have. And it's natural. You don't want to share that information because those are your consumers. Those are the people buying your products and everything. So it's that reluctancy and caution of sharing is natural. But the ability, and Paul touched on, is by connecting that data to other data sources, you actually create more and further value. You have that ability to actually get a 360 view of your consumer. So not just knowing what they purchased or when they purchased, but knowing what else did they purchase, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what do they read, so you can really find that full view of that consumer, and more importantly, use tech providers to find more of them in the marketplace. So keeping it simple and short and sweet. So three things, if you want to remember, is, thinking of data as a consumer fingerprint and thinking of more as data rather than as impressions and GRPs and a media campaign. Keeping it simple and starting easy. We can chase data forever and we can always wait for perfect data, but starting simple is the best place to start. And really integrating and connecting data sources is where you can drive value. Thank you.
Thank you, Tini.